The lights inside Crypto.com Arena glowed like molten gold, pulsing in rhythm with the noise of a restless Los Angeles crowd. It was October 21st, 2025, and the air felt charged with the kind of anticipation that only an NBA opening night could deliver. The world was watching. For the first time in 2 decades, the Lakers were beginning a season without LeBron James on the floor. Dressed sharply in a navy blue suit, glasses glinting under the lights, LeBron sat on the bench, his face unreadable. He wasn't just watching a game, he was witnessing the birth of a new era. On the court stood Luka Doncic, slimmer, calmer, but carrying the entire weight of a franchise on his shoulders. His arrival had reignited hope in the city, and now, as his name echoed through the arena speakers, the roar that followed felt like Los Angeles embracing its new leader. On the other side, the Golden State Warriors waited. The dynasty was alive, breathing fire once again. Jimmy Butler, the new addition, stood beside Steph Curry, their eyes locked on the same goal, proved that experience still conquers youth, and that Golden State's fire still burned bright. The ball rose into the air, spinning under the lights before DeAndre Ayton tipped it toward the Lakers. Doncic controlled the first possession of the season, dribbling to his left, creating space against Jonathan Kuminga. He took one hard step, leaned back, and hit a silky fadeaway jumper. The crowd erupted. But Curry, calm as ever, answered with a deep three on the next possession, the kind that seemed to defy physics. From that moment it was clear, this was going to be a battle of willpower and brilliance. The Warriors struck first in rhythm. Their ball movement was effortless, their perimeter shooting sharp. The Lakers, by contrast, struggled to find a flow. Turnovers crept in, 9 in the first quarter alone, each one a small crack in the armor. Draymond Green, who hadn't even checked into the game, earned his first technical foul of the season for barking from the bench, setting the tone for Golden State's trademark edge. The quarter ended with the Warriors leading 28-22, the Lakers' energy low and their offense unsteady. LeBron leaned back in his seat, lips pressed tight. He knew what it was like to lead through adversity. Now it was Luka's turn to learn. The second quarter opened differently. Doncic gathered the team during a timeout, his voice steady, his eyes burning with intent. The next few minutes felt like a shift. Austin Reeves found his rhythm from the arc, hitting back-to-back threes that sent waves of noise rolling through the arena. Rui Hachimura, silent through the first quarter, joined in, drilling 2 corner threes that made the building shake. Doncic orchestrated it all, reading the floor like a chess master, manipulating defenders, drawing help, and creating open looks for teammates. For a brief stretch, the Lakers looked alive again, their offense flowing with precision and confidence. But Golden State refused to be rattled. Every Laker run met a response, a Curry dagger from deep, a Butler drive that drew contact and ended with him calmly sinking free throws. With just 1 second left in the half, Butler was fouled again and hit both shots, reclaiming the lead for the Warriors. The scoreboard read 55-54 as the buzzer sounded. Doncic had 22 points at halftime, Austin Reeves 12. For Golden State, Butler led with 17, and Curry, after a quiet start, had found his rhythm late, adding 14 of his own. The storylines were already forming. Luka's brilliance was undeniable, but the Lakers' supporting cast looked inconsistent. Ayton, still adjusting to his new team, played hesitant, 4 points, 5 rebounds, and a handful of missed opportunities that drew groans from the crowd. As the players walked into the tunnel, the camera caught Luka glancing toward the bench where LeBron sat. Their eyes met for a split second, mentor and successor. No words were exchanged, but the message was clear: this is your time now. The fans stood, buzzing, chanting Luka's name as the halftime show began. The energy was electric, but beneath the cheers, there was tension. Everyone could feel it. The Warriors had survived the Lakers' best punches, and deep down, they were just getting started. The third quarter began with the Lakers coming out of the locker room energized, determined to wrestle back control from the Warriors. The crowd rose to their feet, chants echoing off the rafters as the team sprinted to the court. Luka Doncic carried the weight of the night, dribbling the opening possession with precision, surveying the floor as if calculating every possible scenario. He passed to Reeves, who drove the baseline but met a wall of defenders, forcing a tough mid-range shot that clanged off the rim. The miss was a subtle reminder that this team still needed cohesion beyond its superstar, but it didn't break Luka's focus. Every pivot, every fake, every drive seemed to tell a story. The Lakers' future was in motion, and Luka was its heartbeat. Golden State, sensing the moment to assert dominance, exploded with a furious 16-4 run almost immediately. Curry's lightning-quick crossovers sliced through the Lakers' perimeter defense, and Butler attacked relentlessly in the paint. The Warriors moved as a single organism, exploiting every gap, rotating seamlessly, and finding open shooters with uncanny timing. Each basket added to the roar of the crowd, but this time, it was mostly Golden State fans celebrating their team's fluidity and ruthlessness. The Lakers called a timeout with 8 minutes left in the quarter, hoping to stem the bleeding, to reset the rhythm that had served them so well in the first half. When play resumed, Luka refused to be silenced. He slashed through the defense, hitting step-back threes and fadeaways with a poise that belied his age. By the middle of the third, he had scored 13 points in the period alone, each shot keeping the Laker. Golden State Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga might have just signed a new deal, but his name is already surfacing in trade rumors once again. Despite his athleticism and flashes of brilliance, there are still doubts about how well his style fits into Steve Kerr's system. According to a new report, the Warriors could consider moving him in a blockbuster trade that brings in a $112 million rising star. The proposed deal, shared by Nathaniel Holloway of Athlon Sports, suggests Golden State could send Kuminga, Moses Moody, and draft picks to the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Trey Murphy III and a reunion with Kevin Looney. Murphy, a smooth-shooting 3-and-D wing, is seen as a perfect complement for the Warriors' offense, a player who can stretch the floor, defend multiple positions, and fit seamlessly alongside veterans like Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. Murphy's numbers last season tell the story. In 53 games, he averaged over 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists while shooting more than 45% from the field. Now entering the first year of his 4-year, $112 million contract, the 25-year-old looks ready to take another leap. For Golden State, landing Murphy could be both a short-term boost and a long-term investment as the team plans for a future beyond the Curry-Green era. Even with all the trade talk, the Warriors are entering the new season with renewed optimism. The addition of veteran center Al Horford gives them a reliable presence in the paint, someone who brings experience, leadership, and defensive intelligence. As ESPN analyst Tim Legler noted, Horford's impact goes far beyond the box score. His ability to facilitate offense, space the floor, and anchor the defense makes him a natural fit for the Warriors' system. At 39, Horford may not post huge scoring numbers, but his influence on winning is undeniable. He knows how to make the right reads, communicate on defense, and mentor younger players, qualities that could make a major difference as Golden State pushes for another playoff run. For now, the Warriors aren't in a rush to shake up the roster. The front office wants to see how the current group performs before the February trade deadline. Still, if Trey Murphy becomes available and the Pelicans show interest, expect Golden State to at least pick up the phone. A swap involving Kuminga might be painful, but if it brings another two-way star to the Bay Area, it could be the kind of move that extends the Warriors' dynasty for years to come. The preseason was over. The lights inside Chase Center dimmed down on a Friday night after a narrow 106-103 loss to the Clippers. For Steve Kerr and his Golden State Warriors, the real challenge wasn't behind them, it was right ahead. The regular season opener against the Los Angeles Lakers loomed large, yet one question still hung heavy in the Bay Area air. Who's going to start on Tuesday night? Moses Moody's strained calf had changed everything. His injury seemed minor at first, just another preseason precaution. But as Sunday rolled around, Kerr stood in front of the media, his expression more uncertain than ever. "Moody's out," he confirmed. The words hit like a subtle gut punch. The 22-year-old guard had been one of the bright spots of the preseason, averaging over 14 points, hitting more than half his shots, and sinking threes at an elite clip. His growth was finally aligning with the Warriors' next chapter, a bridge between the dynasty's past and the team's future. Now, that bridge had cracks. Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga, both battling ankle tweaks, were back in scrimmages. Kerr smiled when he mentioned them, a veteran fighter and a rising star, sharing the floor again, both questionable but expected to suit up for the opener. Yet, with Moody sidelined, Kerr admitted what everyone already sensed: the Warriors still didn't know who their fifth starter would be. Steph Curry and Draymond Green were givens. They always were. Two pillars of an empire that had redefined modern basketball. At Jimmy Butler, the warrior who joined the Warriors, a player whose mentality mirrored Draymond's fire and Steph's competitive calm. Brandon Podziemski, the young lefty shooter who'd impressed everyone with his poise and basketball IQ, was next in line. That made four. But the fifth? That was the puzzle. Kerr mentioned Al Horford, the seasoned veteran, now 39, who had arrived in Golden State to anchor the defense, share wisdom, and provide stability. He could start, yes, but playing him more than 25 minutes was risky. "We have to think about the rotation," Kerr explained. If Horford started, there would be long stretches on the bench later in games. If he came off the bench, the Warriors might lose early balance. Then there was Kuminga, the athletic, versatile forward whose evolution had been the talk of the league last season. Kerr could go small, play Kuminga at the 4, and push Green back into his familiar role as a small ball 5. That combination had defined the Warriors' most dangerous lineups in years past: chaotic, fast, unpredictable, but deadly. Draymond Green, now entering his 14th season, laughed when asked about it. "If I have to play the 5 again," he said, half joking, "I'm going to ask for a trade." The reporters chuckled, but they all knew what he meant: not frustration, but fatigue. Green had carried the weight of being the undersized center for nearly a decade, outsmarting giants with heart, timing, and instinct. He had become the heartbeat of small ball basketball. But even after all these years, Green's answer was still the same: do whatever it takes to win. "I've teetered with it my whole career," he said. "Sometimes I'm the 4, sometimes the 5. But whatever puts us in the best position to win, that's what I'm going to do." His voice carried both pride and perspective. "Playing the 5 isn't always about size. It's about the size of the heart. And I think mine's as big as anyone's in this league." For Kerr, that selflessness was the foundation of every championship run. He had watched teams rise and crumble under ego, but this group, with new blood like Butler, Podziemski, and Horford, still carried the culture built by Curry and Green. That trust, that willingness to adapt, was why the Warriors were still in the conversation after all these years. Across the hallway, Lakers head coach J.J. Redick had already announced his starting 5: Gabe Vincent, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton. LeBron James was out with sciatica, but the Lakers still looked dangerous. The anticipation for opening night was electric. Old rivals. New faces. Two different eras of basketball colliding once again. Back in the Warriors' locker room, the mood was businesslike. Curry tied his shoes, headphones on, locked in. Butler stretched quietly near the sideline, his expression unreadable. Brandon Podziemski shot corner threes with calm consistency, while Horford gave pointers to young bigs about positioning and timing. Kuminga moved with silent confidence, a man who knew this season could change everything for him. Steve Kerr walked through the gym, clipboard in hand, glancing between groups, his mind racing. He had seen dynasties form and fade. He had coached through chaos, through injuries, through the rise and fall of stars. Now, once again, he faced the simplest and hardest question in basketball: who do you trust to start the game? For the next few hours, the Warriors scrimmaged in silence. No fans. No cameras. Just basketball. Butler tested his ankle. Kuminga drove hard to the rim. Draymond barked orders on defense. Curry smiled after sinking back-to-back threes from the logo. It felt like old times, but new too. This was no longer the team of 2015 or even 2022. This was a different breed, part old guard, part new era. Outside, the Bay Area skyline glowed gold and blue, and banners inside Chase Center whispered reminders of glory past. Yet in the heart of every warrior beat the same hunger, to prove they still belonged among the league's elite.